You could get better at English by creating your English brain. What if you could do everything without translating in your head first from your native language to English? Or how about if you didn't have to reach for a dictionary every time you needed a new vocabulary word? This is what we're trying to go for. Maybe you will even start dreaming in English. Hey guys, I'm Akbar Rahman, an English teacher living in Japan, and today let's talk about some of the ways that you can start building your English brain. Are you guys ready? Okay guys, so the first thing that we can do is start small. It doesn't have to be anything big. Just take a look at a picture. You can look at whatever you have in your environment and just start to describe it using words that you know. For example, I'm in my classroom now, and we're just going to start with a simple single word. Let's say that plant right behind me. You can say as many words as you know in English to describe it. For example, green, plant, big. Okay? Then what you can do is little by little work your way up to 2-word combinations. So let's try these. For example, green plant, big plant. Anything is okay, and simple is okay. You just want to start thinking of everything that you know in English, and then little by little, you can find out the words that you know and use that to describe your environment. Okay, and then you can start working yourself up to small phrases. And what you can do is take this time to practice little by little each day, just going around your environment. Walk into your kitchen, explain what you have there, explain it in English. Do the best of your ability and use the words that you have. And this is going to be the first way that we're going to start building up our way of translating and start thinking in English. Okay, now the next thing that you can do to start thinking in English is to surround yourself with English. Now, if you're in an English-speaking country, this might be a little easier because you can go outside, you might have a lot more people around you, and then you can start building your English environment. But this is something that you can even do if you're not in an English-speaking country. What you want to do is just surround yourself with English. And by this I mean, I've probably talked about it before, but think about listening to podcasts in English, a YouTube channel, a movie, a TV show that you like. Think about listening to some music or even reading an online article. And then what you can do is with this different media, you can first listen to it passively. Maybe have it on in the background. I remember when I first came to Japan, no matter what I was doing, I would always have the news on, whatever show was on TV in the background, and then I would do my work. You'll start picking up a little words that you keep hearing over and over, and those will just little by little become part of your subconscious. And then what you can also do is actively listen. Maybe start repeating a word that you keep hearing. Or what you can do is, while you're listening, start repeating some short phrases that you hear. And try to do this as much as possible to get yourself acclimated to that language, and just having yourself practice the motions, practice the sounds, and just practice what you're listening to. Okay, so make yourself an English environment and surround yourself with English. Okay? The next thing that you can do is to change one everyday thing in your life and make it into an English thing. So right now, I'm sure you guys might have a smartphone. If you're listening to this, you might be watching it on a computer. How about change the setting into English? So every time you want to use your phone, every time you want to use the computer, what you're going to have to do is navigate that phone or the computer. You have to navigate it in English. And this is a good way for you to start getting yourself into the mood and get yourself into the idea of, when I do something, I'm going to be doing it in English and not just doing it in my native language and then translating it back into English afterwards. You just want to start building up the muscle of, I have to do this in English, and this is what I'm going to do. And when you turn that phone and flick it on and see that it's in English, you already know, okay, it's English mood time. Okay, I'm ready to go. And this is another good way that we can start building your English brain. Okay, another thing that you can do is, instead of trying to translate from your native language into English, why don't you start trying to use words that you already know? These can be simple words, and actually the simpler, the better, because what we're going to start doing now is building up a habit of using the words that you already know and then explaining your environment, explain your situation, talk about what's happening around you, and this is going to get you into the idea of, I don't know this word, I'm not going to look it up in the dictionary, which would actually improve my vocabulary, but we don't want to improve the vocabulary necessarily right now as much as we want to be able to improve our fluency. Because your vocabulary, you can always improve it afterwards, and right now we just want to start working about, this is my muscle, and that muscle needs to be thinking and doing everything in English. Okay? So find something that you can do, build that habit, and simple words are okay. Just try to explain what's happening around you. I can see a street to the side of me. Okay, there's cars passing by. It's a beautiful sunny day. 2 motorcycles just drove by. Use words that you already know and describe it as much as possible. You don't have to use big words. You just have to use words that are in English. And this is the thing that's going to be as important or important for you so that you can start improving your English and start creating the idea that English is the language that I need to be using. Okay, this next one, I'm sure you'll find out is a very good way, but if you have the chance, I want you to practice with other people in English. So maybe it can be a teacher if you're going to a class. It can be another person learning English. It can be someone that you are able to talk to in actual English. And what you want to start doing for this part of the practice is, I want you to be communicating in English as much as possible. And the more that you can have conversations and you can make yourself understood and that person can be understood by you, I think you're going to start building the confidence that, okay, it's another language, it's not my native language, but I can actually use this language to have conversations and I can do well. And I think little by little, just building the confidence of actually speaking with a real person is going to be really big for your English language. And just like before, don't use any type of devices to translate, don't reach for a dictionary, just think about who's in front of you, what you guys are talking about, and how you can communicate as much as possible in English. Don't worry about being perfect because no one's perfect. I mean, I'm a native speaker and I make mistakes. I'm sure you make mistakes in your native language. So don't worry about being perfect, but just worry about having a conversation and having as much fun as possible, building up the confidence, speaking in English and thinking in English. And this is gonna make it better and better the more you go along. And lastly, one of the things I want to talk about that's gonna be a good way for you to improve your English is to try to be monolingual. And by monolingual, I mean using one language as much as possible. So for example, if you do have to use a dictionary, see if you can find an English to English dictionary. So when you do have to look up words, you're looking up those words in English. And I do believe there's beginners dictionaries or learners dictionaries so that you're not necessarily using the most complicated words, but you are using English when you use that dictionary to find out those words. So you want to be monolingual. So when you do have to look up something, make sure it's in English. And I think little by little, you're going to start building that muscle of, okay, I'm speaking English now. This is English time. So I don't want to be using my native language to find these words. I want to be using English to find these words. And it's also going to little by little build up your vocabulary and how you think about things in English the more you use the English. Okay, so try to be monolingual and try to be as monolingual as possible. When this is English time, you can start short, you can start small, you can build up your English environment, and little by little, you're gonna start noticing the difference, okay? Okay, so these are just a few of the ways that you can try to get your brain retrained to be thinking in English and to be using as much English as possible. So I hope that you can do these, and it might not be easy at the beginning, and I know it's going to be a little tough. It might take some time, and you might not even notice the benefits right away, but I think if you can make the 5 or 10 minutes, get up to 20, 30 minutes of thinking, speaking, and doing as many things as possible in English, I think in the long run, you're really going to see the benefits, and I really hope that this works for you. So these are just a few of the things that you can try. Of course, there's so many different things that you can try, but try these 6 things out today, and little by little, start adding them into your English practice time. So if you've made it this far, how about leave me a comment down below and let me know what you have tried from this list, or if you've tried any other list. And I would really like to hear from you how it worked for you or how it's going for you. Okay, so just leave me a comment. Also, it would be appreciated if you leave a like. That's gonna help me, okay? And I would like to see how you guys are doing. I want to see if you guys are getting those benefits. And then, how about after you finish this one, how about go check out the video on shadowing. I think it's another good way that's gonna help you build up your fluency. And this is even if you don't have anyone to speak to, you can still get that English muscle trained to be thinking in English, listening in English, and you can get your speaking really boosted in a good way, and I hope it's going to be beneficial for you. So I'll see you guys next time. I hope these work for you. Let me know how they go.